Okay, so spring ball wraps up, and everybody always has their take after spring ball ends because you have all these spring games. Some people don't even televise their spring games no more. You have some teams that will have quarterbacks that have bad stat lines. You have some that tear it up. When some people think it's like really like 7-on-7, because you have some guys that dual threat quarterbacks. They can't run in the spring game because it's like tag. You can't touch the quarterback. You can't sack the quarterback. So what would be a sack could end up being like an 80-yard game. So it's really like a 7-on-7 when you really think of it because you can't touch the quarterback. Your dual threat quarterback can't really run the ball. So he's hindered at to a sort. So we're not going to focus too much on the spring game aspect, but we're definitely going to look at some over and under win totals. So, like, I look at this, I automatically look at Alabama, and being an Auburn fan, it's still crazy to me. Like, I see Alabama at 8.5 wins projected. Like, last year they were at 9.5. And I don't know if you guys had their schedule on y'all's end, but it's very easy. Like, they have a 4 game stretch that's very hard, but after that, it's like very easy compared to last year. It's like I'll go over it real quick. They play Eastern Carolina, Kentucky, Florida State, South Carolina, Mississippi State. I think they could win those 5 games right there. But here's where it gets hard. They play Georgia at Tennessee, Texas A&M at LSU. Those are the 4 games you circle. Then they play at Vanderbilt, Chattanooga, and then Auburn. So it looks like you get 8 right there that we know they can win. But you look at the Georgia at Tennessee, Texas A&M at LSU. Those all in a row. Like I don't think they're gonna lose 4 games in a row. So I mean, I think the over is a good pick there. I would like to get y'all's take on that. And I was looking at Ole Miss. You know, they have Trinidad Chandler's coming back. They got Keywan Lacey in the backfield. So I look at that, I say 7.5 for a team that was in the playoffs last year, a game away from the national championship. We're gonna like say 7.5 for them. I think that could be around an 8.5, 9.5 too. What do you think, Emma?
I would say one that stuck out to me in particular was the Arkansas one because if you're looking at their schedule, they've got some challenging games coming up, and I think that it kind of raises the question, and I'd love to get your opinion on this. If this is more, if they will have a bowl game year, or if this is more of like a rebuilding year for them. Because I look at their schedule, and they've got Georgia, they're playing Tennessee, Texas, LSU. So it'll be interesting considering their schedule because I know you're talking about easy schedules with Alabama, but this is a lot tougher of a schedule, I feel like.
Yeah. Arkansas football. They're predicted at 4.5. Hunter Osborne, the defensive lineman there, he's a friend of the show. But they start. You look at North Alabama. That looks like a win. At Utah, that could be challenging. Then they play Georgia. That looks like a loss. Tulsa, we look at that as a win. So you got UNA, Tulsa are your wins. At Texas A&M would be a loss. Tennessee would be a loss. At Vanderbilt, we don't know what they could do there. But I would go for a loss at Vanderbilt. Missouri is a toss up, but I would lean loss. At Auburn, South Carolina, at Texas, LSU. So like I don't know where I can get to 5 games on that schedule. Like LSU, at Texas A&M, Tennessee, Georgia, like and even at Vanderbilt, even though Pavia is gone, like that pedigree that they've played with the last 2 years, I don't know if it's just going to disappear. Missouri and Eli Drinkowitz with Hardy in the backfield. Like these teams are talented. Like South Carolina with Lenore Sellers and Nick Harbert on the outside. They got Dylan Stewart off the edge coming back. Like they have a very hard schedule. Even like they're at a non-conference game at Utah is pretty challenging. So I don't really know if you guys can convince me on 5. I see North Alabama at Tulsa and maybe at Utah and you can maybe argue South Carolina, but that's just 4. So I don't know how we can really get to 5 on that one. Do you guys have anything on that? Like, do you guys think they could get to 5?
Off pure feel, those four you said plus Vandy, I feel like would be realistic.
So you think they get UNA? You think they get Tulsa? You think they go to Utah and win?
I can see it. I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't know.
So
I don't
that's
know.
pretty.
It's just off of.
Yeah.
It's really just off of vibes. I'm not gonna lie. I
Yeah.
just can't see. I can't see them being under 4-5.
I also feel like Arkansas has surprised Tennessee at times, and it's a home game for them. So
You think
That'd
Arkansas
be a
could
crazy
knock off
set.
Tennessee?
sorry,
You think Arkansas can knock off Tennessee?
possibly. I've seen it happen before, and I know that Tennessee can have the tendency to choke, especially since it's not at Neyland this year. But
That's a bold take. I think I look at that at Vanderbilt game. I think maybe they could have some shaking there. But let's remember though, this is a rebuilding year for Arkansas. Year one under Ryan Silverfield, the head coach from Memphis, who did a great job at Memphis. So I think this is definitely a rebuilding year. If they can get to a bowl game somehow, that'd be a great step in the right direction for Arkansas. But what do you guys think about the Ole Miss 7.5 win total? Do you guys think that was like crazy low, 7.5? Or do you guys think like that's like just about right? Like I can pull up their schedule real quick.
It don't make sense to me because I feel like they didn't like. Okay, obviously they lost like one of the better coaches, and obviously they lost some players in that as well. But like I feel like they didn't like lose enough to warrant that. Like I could
Yeah,
still see
seven
them
and a half.
like I. You could argue me down to they could sneak 10, but I would need to see their schedule again to like
They
verify
do have a
that.
hard schedule. Yeah, they do have a hard schedule. I'm looking at it now. They do have a hard schedule. Should I read it to you and you want to give me a win and loss, like a blind like record for them? Like you close your
Read it
eyes,
out
you
to me all the
imagine.
way, and then I'll let you know.
Mm-hmm. And you say win or loss for each one.
I'll tell you. I can tell
Yeah.
you who I think they'd win against if you just give
Okay,
it to me all.
let's do this. So Louisville,
Make a dub, yeah.
win. I agree. Charlotte.
You know, Emma, give me a take two. I want to hear you take it at the same time.
all right.
What do you think?
Okay, so let's start it over. So we're gonna say Louisville and Charlotte are wins.
Yeah, I'd say that too.
Okay.
Hmm.
LSU.
I
At
think it
Ole
would be
Miss. The
funny if they
game is at
win. The
Ole Miss.
story would be nice if they did,
Is it at Ole
but I don't think
Miss?
they will.
Yeah, it's at Ole Miss.
Right, because like they could low key steal that just off of the
I can
vibes.
see it too. I can definitely see it too.
How you feel about Arkansas at Tennessee is how I feel about Ole Miss at LSU at Ole Miss as an LSU fan.
If you had to pick one, which one are you leaning right now?
I'm gonna be biased and say they lose, but I mean they could win it.
How about you, Emma?
I'm gonna go. They win at home.
So one says win, one says loss. Okay, at Florida. New head coach at Florida, John Summerall. At Florida though, like in the swamp.
Yeah, at Florida, I feel like they're losing.
Lose.
What do you
But
say,
you could
Emma?
argue that one.
Okay, at Vanderbilt. I give them a win there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Antonio, win.
Yeah, I'll give them a dub.
Missouri.
I can see it. I'm gonna say yeah.
Win. At Texas.
No.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, there's no way I'm
But
picking that one for Ole Miss. You guys both say loss, or one of you guys say win?
Yeah, I said loss.
Loss. How about you, Antonio?
yeah, they're probably not.
Auburn.
Home.
Yeah, at home at Ole Miss.
I'm sorry, Connor. They're low key winning.
I agree. Emma. I agree. Georgia.
Lose.
Yeah, they probably lose, but it would depend. But they'll lose probably.
Yeah. At Oklahoma. At Oklahoma is a tough game. They brought a lot back.
Dang. I guess they do lose that one, huh?
I would pick
Maybe.
lose, but it's a toss up.
Yeah.
So
It's
you're
like you see
saying
how many of
loss?
these losses I gotta like question.
Yeah, I
That's
see
what.
why it's 7.5 now. How about you, Emma? What do you think with at
For Oklahoma, I'm gonna say win.
win?
See,
Okay,
I can
and
see that.
we'll all say they beat Wofford, right? We're both gonna say they beat Wofford. How about Mississippi State? We're both gonna say win.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mississippi State. Okay, so Antonio, you said 5 losses. Emma said 3 losses. So Emma, you got them at 9-3. Antonio, you got them at 7.5. So like,
Or
it's
hey,
not
but my
crazy.
losses I was thinking about out of those 5, I feel like I thought about like 3 of them at least.
Mm-hmm.
So
Same for
that's why
Emma.
I guess I can understand why they're there, but at the same time it's like no, because they could steal like so many games. It really just depends.
It could really go bad or it could go good.
Like I feel like their floor is 7.5. Like there's no way that they get lower than that. But
I
like
think you could definitely make a case. It
for
could
who
definitely
or
get
like
worse.
what games?
Like you could definitely convince me on them losing to LSU. You can convince me on them losing at Florida. You can convince me of them losing at Texas. Of Auburn's playing the right way later in the year. You can convince me Auburn can beat them. You can convince me Georgia could beat them. At Oklahoma, like you can convince me. It's like I would say their floor is 6-6 at the worst, but their ceiling is like a 10-2. Like it's a weird in the middle just because how this isn't the worst schedule I've seen, but it's definitely a challenging schedule. It's definitely a challenging schedule. LSU, Florida, Texas, Auburn, Georgia, Oklahoma. So it's like, and Missouri's not a team that's like sorry either. Like they're a team that is going to compete with you as well. That's an interesting storyline as well because the quarterback spot trend that Chandler's took is now the starting quarterback at Missouri as well, Austin Simmons. So that's another thing to keep an eye on. Yeah,
So
I could definitely see why it's at 7.5 though.
yeah,
Antonio,
I
did you
don't
have a
know. I guess
team? My bad. I was gonna say, did you have a team whose win total that you thought was like too high or too low, or that you thought was just right?
no, hold on. We all leaning in. Hold on, let me tap in. I'm trying to lean in too. Cause I mean, for the viewers, I'm on my phone right now, so like this is like extra small. I real life can't see. Can you read me what LSU's is?
LSU is 8.5.
8.5.
Did you think it should be higher?
I feel like
Like
they'll hit
off.
over. If I was a
See
betting man,
now,
I'd say over. But
the only people in the SEC that are at 9.5 are Texas and Georgia. So basically, the two best teams in the league are at 9.5. So like, let me read you out LSU schedule: Clemson, La Tech, at Ole Miss, Texas A&M, McNeese, at Kentucky, Mississippi State, at Auburn, Alabama, Texas, at Tennessee, at Arkansas. So
like
they have
you
a
read
tough
that out, and I'm like,
schedule.
that's 2 losses max.
You really think that's 2 losses max?
Well, not.
It
I
really
guess
depends
max
on
is
what you think about that at Ole Miss game.
yeah. I guess I was hesitant about that at Ole Miss game. Okay, I'll
That
give it to
Texas
you.
A&M
3.
game, that Texas A&M game is going to be challenging too.
Probably.
I feel
What
like
did you
Alabama
say?
has. Texas A&M is the fourth week. Texas A&M is week 4.
See, I'm not scared about Alabama though. I'm not that scared about A&M. I don't know. Maybe I'm delusional.
You think you're a little biased?
I guess I had it. Yeah, I mean, hey, I guess we all are in some ways.
At Tennessee will be a challenging game as well. At Tennessee, late in the year too.
Nah, that's light work. They're gonna pack them up by 50.
I don't know. What do you think, Emma? At Tennessee?
No, I think it'll be a challenge for them.
Yeah, I definitely think at Tennessee is a challenging game. Ooh, Texas and LSU is going to be a good game. I didn't even know that play. That's going to be a good game.
It's gonna be a good game. That is one
What
of
do
the
you
losses
think?
I was contemplating.
Yeah.
It was like Texas and I guess Tennessee. Nah, if I'm gonna be realistic. But well shoot, if I'm gonna be realistic, then I guess I'd agree with whoever set those odds, but